Okay, so yeah, we were on the list at Hulk Hogan, which I can't say enough about how stupid that is. That probably the second greatest draw of all time in WWFE history. Um, I mean, it's pretty much a joke. I can't explain how much of a joke that is. It really is. I think everyone knows as well. I mean, it's laughable. He should be in the top three definitely. Arguable which position, I would say after Stone Cold, because Stone Cold sold more merchandise, and I believe the ratings were higher during the Attitude Era. They were the first to surpass Hulk Hogan's ratings, and a large part of that is, because of a lot of the Stone Cold Steve Austin storylines, and he sold more merchandise. So, Terry Funk at number 22. I don't know much about him. I really don't. I'm reluctant to say he shouldn't be on the list because I know people like classy Freddie Blassie, which a lot of people think shouldn't be on the list, actually should be on the list. He's rightfully there as one of the greats, classy Freddie Blassie. Also, about classy Freddie Blassie, he was one of the great heel managers as well. So it wasn't just his wrestling career where he was a great talker anyway. I might put a link down to one of his interviews just so you can see, because a lot of people have been saying he shouldn't be on the list, and he should be. As for Terry Funk, let me see if I can remember him from having a look at him, because sometimes I need a visual aid. I know he is important. He's the older brother of... Oh, Terry Funk. See, this guy... Yeah, I was going to say Dory Funk is the older, I believe. See, this guy, I don't really know, man. I don't feel his career was really... I've just had a look, and it's reminded me, he's Mick Foley's guy. He's always doing, he was always doing these hardcore matches with Mick Foley, and in a sense, he is a pioneer of the hardcore match, but Mick Foley is really the pioneer of the hardcore match. And alright, maybe he had a bit of a career in Impact before, and he was, I don't know. I just don't think he was part of wrestling. I know the parts of wrestling where, it was big, it was massive. And Terry Funk was not really, he wasn't, as a younger wrestler, part of one of those eras, and as an older wrestler, he's known for his hardcore matches. But I would put Mick Foley. I mean, how is he above Mick Foley? Mick Foley's the guy who jumped off a cage. He's the one who almost risked his life jumping off a cage. He tore off an ear. I don't know. I don't know about Terry Funk. I just don't know enough about him. I'm just going to be honest. I really don't. But I don't think he should be on the list. Lou Thesz, obviously he's had an influence because moves are named after him, and I believe he created more than one move. So again, he should be on the list, maybe a bit lower. Jerry the King Lawler. This is one again that I disagree with most people. I think he should be on this list. I think he should be much lower on the list. It's a bit of a joke where he is, but he definitely was one of the great color commentators, and he definitely had an illustrious career, and was one of the most mainstream wrestlers there was, because of the comedy stuff he did with Andy Kaufman. So yeah, he was definitely one of the people who brought wrestling to mainstream. The stuff he did with Andy Kaufman is still legendary. It's part of a film, even, like Man on the Moon, where he actually he plays himself in that film with he plays alongside Jim Carrey, who plays Andy Kaufman. And yeah, he's had some entertaining moments in WWE, and definitely was a great color commentator. He was one of the great color commentators. I found him absolutely hilarious along the side, especially when he was teamed up with a good old JR. I would argue, I would defend Jerry the King Lawler's place in the top 50 but definitely, I mean, not above Hulk Hogan, not above Bruno Sammartino, not above Ted DiBiase, not above Kurt Angle, Mick Foley, not above Jake the Snake Roberts. Yeah, he's way, way down there, like possibly like 45, I think would be a good place for Jerry the King Lawler. Edge, here's one I really don't know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Edge can be on this list, possibly. I didn't really get the appeal of Edge, so it's really hard for me to kind of look at this objectively. He wasn't that important during the Attitude Era. He was good tag team guy. So yes, okay, so he was actually important during the Attitude because of his tag team career, and he was one of the, he was tag team champion several times. I don't think he was part. I thought personally he would, like when it was the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, and Christian and Edge. I always thought, okay, the Dudley Boys, way my favorite. Then Hardy Boys way low, and then Edge and Christian a bit lower. So if the Dudleys weren't going to win, I wanted the Hardys to win. If the Hardys weren't going to win, then I just didn't find them that funny. I mean, I really didn't find them that funny. I thought their sketches were nowhere near as crisp as Stone Cold or The Rock or Chris Jericho or even Eddie Guerrero or Kurt Angle or Triple H. I mean, Edge was just never that great for me. I know he did the Rated R Superstar gig during the Ruthless Aggression era, which probably raised his profile quite a lot. And then he won the Royal Rumble as well. Had a good feud with John Cena. My personal thing, I'll put Edge on the list. Way lower. I think, despite my not liking him, he might deserve to be on this list. But despite the fact I don't see the appeal, but I think he did have an appeal to a lot of people. So, and he was part of the bit, and part of important matches during, the boom period of WWE. So, there you go. But as far as his singles career as well, it was when WWE was going downhill, to be honest. So, there's that to keep in mind. So, but Edge still was before it turned dire, so he was still entertaining people, and he had a bit of a following. So I think he had a big following. So I'll put him on the list in the 40s. Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair both deserve to be on here. They're number 17 drawn. Ric Flair should be way higher. Dusty Rhodes 17. I'd put him like 25. Ric Flair, he should be. In fact, Ric Flair should be in the top 10. I would say 8, below Andre the Giant. The people he needs to be below are The Rock, Stone Cold. He needs to be below. He needs to be below Andre the Giant. He needs to be below Hulk Hogan. Is there anyone else he needs to be below? I don't think so. It's arguable that he needs to be below Bret Hart. It's arguable that he needs to be below Shawn Michaels, and it's arguable that he needs to be below The Undertaker. Ric Flair should therefore actually be possibly in the top 6 or 7. So the top needs to be Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, who was it? Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. Is there anyone else? Yep. No, those are the guys he needs to. Oh, Macho Man Randy Savage. Those are the only guys that Macho Man Randy Savage should be before Ric Flair. In terms of iconic wrestlers, those people you associate with wrestling when you think about it. Yeah, that's the list I think need to be above Ric Flair. So I'm putting him at around 6. Um, and this is from someone, I'm not a big fan of Ric Flair. Again, I'm not a big fan of Ric Flair. I'm being objective about this. Ric Flair is just simply one of the greatest. Um, he is one of those people you associate with wrestling. You know, do I think his mic skills are as bang on as WWE make out and Triple H makes out? No. Do I think he was a massively good in-ring worker? Yes. He had the ring psychology down. Was he as technical as everybody makes out? Not really. He was an okay technician, but his greatest advantage was his ring psychology. He was humorous in the ring, brought you into the matches, made you want him to lose so much and to be humiliated so much. He was great the way he took his bumps. He did some of the most unique, ways of selling moves ever in the business. So he brought you in that way. He was not as good as technician or as good a mic worker as people make out, but his ring presence was what made him amazing. His entrance, everyone knows the Ric Flair entrance and how he comes in, and he had some of the best catchphrases and stuff like that in the business as well. So yeah, Ric Flair definitely should be in the top 6. We then go on to John Cena. Oh my god, I hate this guy now, man. 16, John Cena. John Cena shouldn't be on this fucking list. I mean, even if at a stretch, listen, put it this way, John Cena, he has a legacy, and people want to argue that he's part of a transition in wrestling. But when you look back at it, this is going to be like the dark ages of wrestling. So if John Cena wants to be in this, his name should be in here for being part of the worst part of wrestling, when wrestling took a nosedive into oblivion. That is the only thing that he has added to the wrestling business. And I'm not even saying, I even like the Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick. I'm not even going to lie, I like the Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick. But nonetheless, ever since that lasted about a year, and then ever since then he's been shit. He's been terrible. Not even shit, terrible. People boo him all over the place, and he's the and there's the type of heat you get. Like, he's not supposed to be gay. He's a fucking baby face. But like, let's just say for argument's sake, we see him as a heel, right, in WWE. He's not the type of heel that is getting like heat that is good. Like, oh, he's entertaining me heat. Like, it's like, we hate you, get off our screen heat. John Cena does not deserve to be on this list, unless this is your argument for him being on the list. He is on the list because he is the person who almost single-handedly, or who represents most profoundly the transition of WWE into its worst, most unpopular period in the history of wrestling. That is the only reason John Cena deserves to be on this list. So he is the poster for an era which people hate. Then yes, fine. Because if we're talking about, okay, this person had a great impact on wrestling, yes, he has had a great impact. He's had a great impact in terms of representing. I'm not saying he's the only guy, because I think the whole of WWE is in a shambles at the moment. This list being one of the perfect examples of how much of a shambles it's in and how much politics is being played. But that is his contribution to wrestling. That is his contribution to wrestling. And I don't even hate him as much as internet marks hate him or whatever. like, or into the YWC. I don't hate John Cena. I don't even think he's the problem. I'll get to who I think is the real fucking problem with the WWE in a minute. Mr. Perfect. Yes, that's fine. Number 15 for Mr. Perfect is perfect. It's perfect. It's very good. One of the great in-ring workers. Really, really fucking brilliant. You know. So yeah, I think that is absolutely the right position. So number 15. I'm going to go on to part 3 of this video. Yeah. Bear with me.